Welcome back, guys. Thanks for joining me for another beer review. Hope you're all well. I'm looking a bit pink in the face. Been working outside today. It's been rather a nice day, so that is why I'm looking a little bit pink. We're back now with another beer review. It's another one of the beers that I picked up from Waitrose in Chester, and this one is from Northern Monk. It's one of their Faith in Futures range, and it's a very girly looking can. I can't believe I've picked it up. It's a double dry hopped hazy IPA. It's called Amy Hastings, I'm assuming. It's coming in at 6.5% in a 440ml can, and I think it was about the £3.50, £3.75 mark, part of a 5 for 4. This was one that I paid for, but obviously getting the one cheaper one would have like put the price down of this, if you like. Like I say, very girly. So I think JB from Northern Southerner has reviewed this. Honestly, can't remember what he said. I think he actually thought it was okay, but I could be totally wrong. So, Faith in Futures, they donate money to charity from these beers, which is a good thing. Don't have a Northern Monk glass, so we are going to whack it in the Stonehouse Brewery glass, which is where I'm currently working. So let's get it cracked open, see what we get. And it's old Bazza's birthday today. Old man today, 53. I don't think this video is going up on my birthday. It'll probably go up the day after or the 2 days after, something like that. But yeah, I popped in there, had a pint, and was very kindly bought a pint from Anne and Ian, the mother-in-law, father-in-law of the owners of Stonehouse. They're actually the mother of Shane, I think, is the main Stonehouse man. So they're his mother-in-law, father-in-law, and his wife Alison, it's her mum and dad. But they because I'm doing work for them, they very kindly said, go in there, tell them that we've got you a pint. So I've had a free pint today, if nothing else, for my birthday. Anyway, all the beers in. There was a couple of little lumps that dropped in there. It's got to be said, that looks very nice indeed. Sort of like a bright orange sort of colour. It's nice and hazy. It looks quite dense. Like I say, a couple of lumps in there. We got about a finger of whitehead going on. Mix and match bubbles. Can't see any bubbles going up, but it's got to be said, it looks like a decent beer. So, yeah, I can't be asked to look. What we'll do is we'll just go in with the nose, have a sniff, and see what we get on the taste, and just see if it's any good, really. Yeah, hoppy, very typical IPA, it's got to be said. I'm feeling a little bit, still a little bit under the weather, not massively. Tropical, fruity, juicy. Plenty of aroma there without sort of really sort of punching you in the face. Nothing smells bad. It smells nice enough. Smells very typical of what we see most days. So I'm going to dive in now. Northern Monk Faith in Futures and their Amy Hastings double dry hopped hazy IPA, 6.5% ABV. Picked up from Waitrose, about the £3.50 mark. Cheers, everyone. First impressions. Now, normally I change my impressions. I think I've got this bang on straight away, 6.5%. I think that beer is quite light for the ABV. I think that is quite a light beer. And I'm pretty certain I'm going to stick with that. The carbonation felt quite busy. I'm going to go in again and we'll test that. But I think for 6.5% the beer is quite light. Yeah, I mean, it's not the worst body I've had in a beer. But without repeating myself, you know what I said. The carbonation there is showing its face quite a bit, I think. I don't know if it's really ruining the beer, but it does give it a rough mouthfeel. It does give it a bit of a rough side to it. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of smooth in there, but the carbonation does give it a rough edge. The body isn't the worst sort of body on a beer, but I do think it is particularly light for a 6.5% beer. That's where the carbonation is showing its head. On the taste, it feels very Northern Monk. I'm kind of guessing their Northern Monk Faith beer in all these beers is pretty much the base of each sort of can, and then they kind of tweak it here and there. It has that sort of typical I'm going to say Northern Monk feel about it. Once if you have a few of Northern Monk beers on the trot, you get used to that flavour and you just know they're sort of Northern Monk. For me, I've had a couple sort of recently and I feel that their beers sort of taste the same. The flavour is there in the beer. It sort of feels, like an orange squash that has just been, or it feels like a glass of squash that has just been over diluted a little bit too much. I'm not going to say it's watery and wishy-washy and the flavours aren't there and they disappear instantly, but there is that sort of lightness to the flavours as well as the body. It's tropical. Yeah, it's them typical sort of tropical notes: orange, mango, tropical flavours, pineapple. It's a bit of a fruit bowl sort of flavour. I think you can pick up a lot of sort of flavours in there that are all sort of mashed together for me. Quite dry. It does leave you quite dry once you have a mouthful. Not a huge bitterness. But I'm going to say quite big on the dryness. Leaves you quite dry on the back end, but although there's flavours there, they're not the sort of flavours that are dragging me back in really. It leaves you dry, and I think the dryness is just, I don't think the flavours are the thing that take you back in. It's the dryness of the beer that takes you back in. And sometimes it's nice that the flavour of the beer sort of drags you back in rather than the dryness. It's great having that dryness if the flavours are there that you want. But for me, because it's so dry, you drink it again, and for me the flavours aren't, they're there, but I don't know, they're not the thing that really sort of drags you back in. It's okay. It's okay. I know I don't sound very convincing. It's okay, but it's a little bit more than a lot of supermarket beers. But it's not something that really sort of grabs me. It's nice enough. It's probably going to appeal to a lot of people. I'm not going to say it's not really. The beer is all right, but it's not my cup of tea personally. But yeah. I don't know. It's a tricky one. I don't want to rip it to shreds because it's not that bad, but it's also nothing that sort of sets your world alight. So Northern Monk, Amy Hastings Double Dry Hopped Hazy IPA. Let me just quickly before we go. Yeah, you don't really get the 6.5%. And yeah, the flavours just, I don't know, they're all right, but they don't really, then even the flavours aren't really there for a 6.5% beer. They're there, but they're not bold enough. So yeah, Northern Monk, Faith in Futures. Amy Hastings Double Dry Hopped Hazy Pale Ale. It's not the worst beer I've ever had, but nor does it set my world alight. If you've had this beer before, let me know what you think. Feel free to comment. Waitrose I got it from. Thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Pardon me. And I'll see you again soon on another one. Cheers.